All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi Stadium for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we recap everything that happened down here on a Friday in Santa Clara. All right, out for the game, Kyle Shanahan. We just spoke to Kyle Shanahan just a minute ago. Ricky Pearsall out, Jordan Watkins out, Brock Purdy out, Yatir Gross-Matos out, Kevin Givens out. So all those guys are out this week. Kalia Davis will be questionable. Juwan Jennings questionable. Alfred Collins questionable. Upton Stout questionable. Mac Jones with the oblique questionable. And Malik Mustafa with the knee questionable. So that's where we're at going into this game injury-wise. Purdy did not practice on Friday, and obviously the toe, he's trying to make it back from that toe, but he's not coming back anytime soon. It doesn't sound like. Purdy and Ricky Pearsall worked on a side field during practice. Malik Mustafa practiced on Friday. That was good to see. Juwan Jennings practiced on Friday. As far as Tampa Bay is concerned, Chris Godwin's out. Mike Evans is out. So those are two big injuries for the Buccaneers. Mac Jones was passing today at practice. He didn't throw yesterday. A lot of talk about maybe him being in pain with an oblique injury. Definitely something to watch for. We talked to Adrian Martinez at his locker. He's ready to roll if Jones, for whatever reason, can't go or has to come out of the game. Martinez is a confident young man, and he played very well in the UFL. Robert Saleh called him a winner earlier this week. He's a very athletic guy. He runs in the 4.5s. Was a very competitive player at Nebraska, K-State. Was a great player in the UFL this year. MVP of the UFL Super Bowl. So Adrian Martinez is ready if by chance Mac Jones can't go, or if Mac Jones goes down in this game. It will be time for Adrian Martinez, I should say, is ready, and he'll be ready if Mac Jones goes out. So look for Adrian Martinez. I'll say this: I think Adrian Martinez is going to play well if he plays, because I think he's pretty athletic. I think he's playing his best football right now, and I don't think the moment's too big for him. As far as the weather in Tampa on Sunday, they're saying 85 degrees. Now, it's going to be a 4:25 local start, so it'll probably be a little bit cooler by kickoff, but they're saying 85-degree weather expected on Sunday at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, where the Niners take on the Buccaneers in Week 6. Now, the Niners are 4-1. The Bucs are 4-1. The over-under on the game is 47.5. The Bucs are 3.5-point favorites to win the game. The Niners have beaten Tampa Bay. They beat them last year 23-20, and they've beaten them 4 times in a row. Couple things to look for in this game. Christian McCaffrey, I would say this is a great opportunity for McCaffrey to go off as a receiver. Tampa's allowed the 3rd most receiving yards to running back. CMC's got 387 receiving yards. It's 117 more than any other back in the game. He leads the NFL in yards from scrimmage. He leads the NFL in total touches. I think this is a big Christian McCaffrey game, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he went off. One of the things the Niners really can't do is they can't turn the ball over. Why? Because Tampa's offense doesn't turn it over. Their offense has turned the ball over only on 3.8% of their drives, which is the second lowest rate in the NFL. So if you're playing a team that doesn't turn it over, you really can't turn it over, or it's the quickest way to lose the game. As far as Mac Jones, he does have that oblique injury. He also has got a knee injury. He's been really good so far. 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, 99.1 passer rating. He's played really, really well. So, we'll see. We'll see how he plays in this game against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got, Reddick and Yaya Diaby coming off the edges, and yet they haven't really gotten their outside rush going. Both of these teams are very similar. Both teams are talented. Both teams are in first place in their division. Both teams have questionable special teams. Both teams have kickers they really like. Both teams have had a number of key injuries, and both teams have played 5 one-possession games. It's pretty rare that you would get to this point in the season and have 2 teams that similar, but that's the Niners and the Buccaneers at this point. As far as making it back for this game, there's 3 guys that we're really looking at. Jennings, I think he'll probably wind up going. Malik Mustafa, I think he's going to wind up going. And Kevin Givens with the pec is, had his 3-week window opened, but he's not quite ready yet. So Givens will not be going. What does that mean? It means that Sebastian Valdez and Evan Anderson are the 2 defensive linemen that potentially could be called off the practice squad on Saturday. So that's something to watch for. As we mentioned, there'll be no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans, no Bucky Irving, probably no Benjamin Morrison, and probably no Ryan McCollum either. What's the key in this game? One of the keys is you can't let Hassan Reddick get rolling. He only has 1 sack and 1 quarterback hit. They signed him to a $14 million contract in the offseason. He just hasn't done it. They got to make sure that he stays quiet. If he gets it really rolling, that will be a bad, bad omen for sure. Another thing, can the 49er defense start making bigger plays? They only have 1 sack since Bosa left 2 games ago, and the Niners haven't had an interception in 12 games. So it would really be nice if somehow they could scheme up some pressure and create an interception. If you can take the ball away, I think you got a great chance to win this game. John Lynch talked earlier in the week about possible trades, and that's been a constant drumbeat about the trade market. And of course, the trade deadline is coming up November the 4th, and it's in week 9. And right now it's week 6, so you still got a couple weeks away from the trade deadline. But I think one thing that Niner fans should recognize is that just because you want to make a trade doesn't mean, it takes 2 to tango. You got to find a trade partner out there. And I just see a marketplace where there's a lot of teams that, if you trade veteran players away, that sends a loud message to your fan base and a loud message to your locker room that you're not going for it this year. And that's not a message that many NFL teams like to send. So I don't expect there to be a lot of sellers at the trade deadline. And then there's teams that they'll sell, but they're not going to sell to you. And I think the Niners, I don't think the Raiders are going to sell to the Niners. I don't think the New York Giants are going to sell, period, because I think Joe Shane and Brian Dable are trying to keep their jobs. A lot of people saying Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. I don't think the Giants are going to be in the sell mode. I think they're going to make the playoffs mode. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't think have any interest in selling. They've got Calais Campbell. It would be great if they would send Calais Campbell to the 49ers. I don't see it happening. The Dallas Cowboys, I don't see Jerry Jones, who, yes, they dealt for Trey Lance, but I don't see Jerry Jones trying to help the 49ers or trading any useful pieces to the 49ers. Jerry's the kind of guy that when he's passionate about a player like he was about Trey Lance, he'll do a deal with you, but he's not going to trade you, he's not going to trade you his quality veteran players up front so that you can win for draft choices. I just don't buy that. So I think you can take Dallas, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Raiders and just say, yeah, maybe all 4 of those teams might be sellers, but they're not going to sell to the Niners. So who are the Niners going to buy from? I would say the teams that you should focus on are really Carolina, New Orleans, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bengals, but the Bengals are not ready to make a move right now. They just acquired Joe Flacco. Cleveland, Tennessee, possibly Baltimore. I'm not even 100% convinced Baltimore has anything to sell. So I think that's really what you're looking at. Who makes the most sense on the trade market? It's hard to say, but I would say Carolina's got a couple of really interesting players. Thomas Incoom, the defensive end, Xavier Legette, the wide receiver. I think both those guys could help the Niners. New Orleans with Carl Granderson and Davin Godchaux. The Jets with Will McDonald and Michael Clemens and Jermaine Johnson. Miami with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. Cincinnati with Miles Murphy and Joseph Osai, Trey Hendrickson. Cleveland with David Njoku. Tennessee with Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key, Sebastian Joseph Day. These are the teams that I think are probably the best fits for the 49ers. You never know, but I think you're getting a pretty good illustration there of why it's so difficult to make a trade, because there aren't that many sellers. You're going to have to beat out the other buyers, and you're going to have a piece that helps you this year, and yet The price tag has to be reasonable enough so it doesn't burn you so much that it's prohibitive for 2026 and beyond. So once again, Carolina, New Orleans, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Titans, I would say are probably the teams to focus on as far as trades. I think the Jets probably have the best fit for the Niners, but it's hard to say. It's really difficult to say. And also, you don't know exactly what positions the Niners will be looking for. Right now, it's defensive tackle, defensive end, but you never know. It could be tight end. It could be running back. It could be any number of positions that they're looking for as that deadline draws closer. All right, we should tell you the 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, I like the 49ers to win a game that I think is going to be kind of on the high scoring side. I think Niners are going to have a hard time stopping Tampa. I think Tampa's going to have a hard time stopping the Niners. I like 28-24 49ers, 4 touchdowns for Mac Jones, maybe 3 and a field goal for Baker Mayfield, and a very entertaining game, to say the least. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. Thanks to Sleeper. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Kurtis Show on YouTube.